Beach or pool?
Beach.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Minimal or statement?
Statement.
Go-to summer drink?
Paloma.
One word to describe the summer.
Hot.
Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Tiny bikinis, yes or no?
Yes.
Logos, dead or alive?
Dead.
One trend you wish would disappear?
Logos.
One trend you think is coming back?
Logos.
For anyone who might not know, how would you describe Paolita in 3 words?
Emotive, chic, and empowering.
What was the original spark behind starting Paolita?
My need to express my creativity. And I felt that being hired by another company wouldn't allow me to be truly creative and authentic. So I started my own.
Did you always know you wanted to build a brand, or did it evolve naturally?
It evolved very naturally. I thought I wanted to go up the career ladder in high fashion. And 2 years into working in that space, I was so fascinated by the branding and the creativity and everything. And I just wanted to build my own brand.
Paolita feels very rooted in travel and culture. Where does that inspiration come from?
To me, travel has always been a way of seeing what you have in common in places of the world that you have never been to, and people that you've never met, and cultures that you haven't grown up around. And to me, that is very interconnected with culture, and it's the root of my inspiration in everything that I design. It's about connecting people, it's about the connections we have, and it's about everything that we have in common with each other.
How does your heritage influence the brand?
I come from two sides of the world. I'm half Mexican and I'm half Greek. So, again, I think we've got both places have fantastic beaches, an incredible summer culture, and really good food and a lot of fun. And to me, all that I think translates naturally into Paolita.
What makes Paolita Paolita?
Paolita loves stories and creativity and patterns and color and harmony.
What's the process from idea to finished piece?
It starts from the fabric and it starts from the print. What do we want to talk about and what's interesting me? What's happening in the world at the time? A very good example. I was designing through COVID. I had this obsession with designing about connection and people holding hands and people kissing and everything we weren't really allowed to do and dancing. And to me, that was very current with what was happening at the time. And I think subconsciously, I start to design like this. Research, I look at museums, watch documentaries, I go online. It's based on travels and memories.
Do you design with a specific woman in mind?
I design with a specific woman that likes to express herself. I design with the kind of woman that doesn't wear beige and doesn't wear black and she doesn't wear gray. Or if she does it with like intention. I To me this woman is somebody that wants to stand out. She's cultured, she travels, probably lives in a city but goes all over the world. She's empathetic, kind, and very elegant.
How do you balance timeless versus trend-led design?
I don't do trend led design. I reject trend led design. I think trend led design goes out of fashion very quickly. What I aim to do is something that transcends time, that you can wear for many years. Again, we always talk about sustainability. We talk about not wasting things. And that doesn't mean not buying things. It means buying things consciously, where you say, you know what, I'm going to get this. It's an investment piece. It's going to last for years. And even with our swimwear, annoyingly, I get customers saying, I still have it from your first collection 15 years ago and nothing's
Hmm.
happened to it. And in my head, I'm like, that's great. But on the other hand, you need to buy more.
What does a typical day in your life actually look like?
Okay, so it looks like me scraping myself out of bed at 6 a.m. because I've been woken up by my youngest child. And it means making the most out of the 3 hours I have with my kids in the morning before work and school starts. And so we make pancakes, we play, try and get them dressed, and have my coffee with them. And as soon as they're off to school, I have, I guess, like a timer of everything I need to get done between 9 a.m. and when school ends. Because to me, trying to also be conscious with them is super important and spend that time with them. And at the same time, doing everything for the company is also incredibly important. And then that varies what happens in the day. It
Mhm.
depends. Is it my design time? Do we do research? Am I drawing? Am I speaking with technicians? Am I speaking with a factory? Am I speaking with my amazing team? It all varies from day to day and depending on what time of the year, what we're doing.
What's something people would never expect about running a resort wear brand?
I do it in my pajamas.
Do you think founders need to be visible on social media?
That's a very interesting question. I do believe that founders should be visible on social media. I think I'm very guilty of really being invisible on social media because I'm quite shy. And also, I get so absorbed in my work, I don't think of spending the time to capture moments and thoughts. And that's something I really want to spend more time doing. But I find it so inspirational when I see other founder stories and when I see the thought behind it and when I understand their motives, I get incredibly inspired. And I think it's incredibly important to do that because you also show younger generations what they can do and what they can achieve. And that's important.
Your ultimate summer day, where are you and what are you wearing?
My ultimate summer day, I'm in Mykonos. It's my favorite island. I know it's a cliche, but I grew up on that island. So that's my ultimate summer day. And I've rolled out of bed at 1 p.m. This is my fantasy. And I have packed my two bikinis and a one piece to the beach. Well, I'm wearing a bikini. My Palma bikini is the one I'm going to be wearing with the underwire and the Maya bottom, my favorite. And I'm going to be wearing it with a silk kimono. I'm super excited about that. But obviously, it's going to get wet. So obviously, we're going to have to change. So my backup bikini is going to be my ceramic triangle bikini, which I will then wear to the restaurant with the shirt and the pants that match. And then if I want to change again, because obviously I'm going to swim again, it's going to get wet, we're going to wear the one piece, the Sole Mio, which I am so excited to wear with my shorts.
What does the Paolita woman feel when she wears your pieces?
I would love to know that, but what I hope she feels is I hope she puts them on and goes, oh, this feels really comfortable and I feel really good about my body.
What part of your job do you secretly hate?
The admin side of things.
What makes a bikini fit perfectly?
The elastics being soft enough that they don't dig into your skin. I think that's really important to have a really good quality structural elastic. Making sure you wear the right size. Sometimes people want to wear things a little bit too big because they don't like it feeling too tight or something sometimes a bit too small. So getting the right size is good because what you want is that smoothness. And then, with the top, it's a little bit more flexible, especially the triangles, because there it's a matter of taste. Like, do you want to show a little bit more boob? Do you want to show a little bit less? So there you can size up and size down.
Hmm.
But whatever's under wire, whatever's structured, you treat it like a bra and you have to put it on right. The first thing you do is you anchor it around your back, make it as tight as your bra is, and that's where all the support comes from. And then you adjust the straps and you make sure that wire hugs, your boob really well, the circumference of it, and you can have an excellent fit like that.
If Paolita was a place, where would it be?
Notting Hill. Honestly, it's one of my favorite places in the world. It's colorful, the houses are gorgeous. So, if we put Notting Hill with like a tropical climate, that's where I would say Paolita is.
What music feels like the brand?
Right now, Bad Bunny.
Luxury or comfort?
Comfort,
Over-designed or under-designed?
over-designed,
Trend or timeless?
timeless.
Favorite destination right now?
Mexico,
One word, Paolita.
love.
Why do brands overcomplicate something as simple as a bikini?
Why do brands overcomplicate things? I think you have to explore everything you can do with any product. And at sometimes you're not going to get it right, and sometimes you're going to get it perfect. But the way to find perfection is to go through all the routes of making mistakes, and you need to make space for that.
How do you design for confidence?
Confidence, it's within someone. So that's something that we cannot control, and that's something I cannot control.
Have you ever had a moment where you thought of quitting?
Never. I've never had a moment of thinking of quitting. I've had moments of reflection, and all of those moments of reflection have always led to doing things in a much better way. But I've been at it for 16 years. It's not something to be taken lightly.
What does success look like to you now versus when you started?
I think when I started, to me, success was a very different definition to what it is right now. And that was mainly because I was naive and also I had no experience in business. To me, the success was I want to build a company that's global. I want to build a company that's going to compete against the biggest companies in the world. What I see success as now is now the longevity of the brand. And what are the next steps?
What's more important, how something looks or how it makes you feel?
How it makes you feel.
What's something everyone stresses about that actually doesn't matter?
What other people think about them.
What's the hardest piece to design?
I think the whole collection is hard. There's not one piece that's hard to design, but it's about pulling it together as a complete project.
What's the difference between a good design and a great one?
I would say how long people wear it for. A good design is a design that you're going to buy, you'll wear it for a season, you're happy with it, you move away. A great design, you're going to wear it over and over and over again. And then when it's completely broken and destroyed because you've worn it so much, you're going to go out and look for the same thing.
What's inspiring you right now creatively?
Ceramics. And I love the art of how they paint on ceramics. And that's very much, I anchored the Spring Summer 26 collection, the one that we're just launching right now, around very much around Sicily. It's a place I've always wanted to go. It's a place that I see as a sun-soaked paradise with the lemon trees and the colors and these terracotta colors. Just the tiling that they have is incredible. Sole Mio, the current collection, the essence is that it's under the sun. It's what's under the sun, and that's the world. And that puts us all together. And I've tied that together with this very simple art form, which is a tile that started in North Africa, went to Spain, spread through the Mediterranean, and ended up in Latin America. It's beautiful.
What does taste mean to you?
Taste is something you cultivate. It's not something you're born with. It's something you cultivate as you go through life. And there's no recipe to what taste is. You have to be interested in aesthetic, and you have to be interested in what something looks like. It's constantly evolving. You've got influences coming from you from what's trending, inescapable influences, but it's ultimate about cultivating something that defines you, that makes it you. And I really think that it's something that changes throughout life.
How do you protect your creative vision when there's pressure to commercialize?
Commercializing is very important, and I don't agree with people that reject it. But commercializing doesn't mean that you have to look like everyone. Commercializing means that you have to appeal to people. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you have to look like everyone else. So I don't think creative visions are threatened by commercialization. You're designing for someone. This is what a designer is. You're not designing for yourself only, and you're not designing for only one person. You're designing to appeal to a group of people, and that in itself is commercial.
Why do you love this collection?
It's one of the first collections in a long time that I haven't used extremely bright colors, and they're quite soft in the palette, and they're quite serene. And there's just something about that energy that makes me, I want to kind of vibe with. I want to get on board with that because I'm also quite intense sometimes. I like that energy that the collection gives. I'm also obsessed with all of the shiny things. And I think it's one of the first times that I'm itching for the summer to come because I want to wear everything.
If you could rename this collection, what would it be?
I wouldn't rename it. I love the name that I chose. Sole Mio, my son.
What's your favorite swimwear trend right now?
Soft underwire.
What's your ultimate founder advice?
If you're going to make the leap, try and get funding and backup funding. Educate yourself on what you're getting yourself into. You have to be willing to do everything and go out, talk to everybody about it, make connections, get advice from everyone that you can. Always harder than you think it's going to be. But if you have that appetite, you can do great things.
Which collection do you feel best captures the
Like
brand?
what year collection?
Yeah.
Again, it evolves. I'll tell you some of my favorite collections. I would say one of my favorite collections was the Idra collection, which I designed in 2021, well, launched in 2021. We shot it on the island of Idra. We were so lucky to do that in this incredible house. And Nikos Papadopoulos, the photographer that does all our campaigns, just captured this magic behind the collection. It was the year of the 200 years of independence of Greece. And even though I'm not very nationalistic about anything. I thought it was really cool to say, hey, what was happening in Greece 200 years ago? What were they wearing? What was the jewelry? And what did it look like? I went through stuff that was even from my family,
Mhm.
artifacts, pictures. I went to museums. There's these incredible collections in Nafplio, in Athens. I enjoyed designing that collection so much, and I was so proud of the outcome.
What's your favorite piece from this collection?
You know how I said I designed in my pajamas? The upgrade to that is the ceramic of the silk trousers and the silk shirt. To me, I mean, first of all, it's this delicious silk with lurex that comes through it, and it's so comfortable and it feels like you're wearing pajamas or a running suit, but you look $1,000,000.
How do you choose the fabrics that you use?
I'm a stickler for comfort, and I'm a stickler for how things feel on your skin. I feel everything with my hands, and to me, if it feels beautiful, then that's something to really take into consideration. And the other thing is I like natural fibers. I like things that they feel better for me against the skin. They're more breathable, and so that's how I choose the fabrics for the clothing. Now for the swimwear, you don't have a choice. You have to use synthetic. You have to use either polyamide or you have to use polyester for swim. They're both basically the same thing. They're oil-based fabrics. I always try and use recycled, and I'm very proud of that. And again, it's about how do you feel it? How does it stretch? How does it feel on the skin? Does it feel good? Does it feel supportive? The people that I'm working with right now are mostly Eurocentric because I try and minimize the shipping and the back and forth. I would say like 99% Eurocentric.
How does a print come to life?
I mean, it's actually one of the scary things because it's like leaping into the unknown when I start trying to create a print. It's not like I have it in my head and from my head I can like pour it onto a paper and then onto fabric. It starts with, oh, I like these ceramics, and I also love palm trees, and oh, I also like this detail. And there's a sketching process where, where it's like, oh, I like, let's start sketching a palm tree, and maybe like we'll sketch 5 or 6 palm trees, and then 5 or 6, I don't know, like little elements that go around it, and try and piece that all together in a way that once you place it on an outfit, it looks really good. So there's lots of sketching using through Photoshop, placing it on an outfit, seeing how it works on the body, and that goes back and forth. And then the very tough thing is then finding the colors. I always work with a ring light that people use because you can actually control the tone of the light, and it has to be white light. It has to be as if you're under the sun. And I start picking Pantone chips and pulling all of this together because we need to then communicate. I want to communicate with precision to our partners who print how it's going to look like on the fabric. And then we get little swatches and we approve those, and then we end up going to production with that.
Which detail defines Paolita's signature look?
Prints define our signature look, but our prints are very particular to Paolita. So it doesn't mean I have a friend who is an amazing buyer, and she said something to me that I loved, and I have never thought of it like that. But she said, what I like about Paolita is that you design prints for people who don't wear prints. And I thought that was really cool.
Which element of design do you obsess over the most?
Again, the prints, the fit obsessive. And that's why I think we also do swim so well. We do fittings after fittings after fittings. Even once we launch a product, I want so much feedback. Critique it for me. What can we do better? What can change about this? Just because we've put it in the lab or the studio under like perfect circumstances and it fits well there, how does it fit on the beach? How does it use? How does it wear? So to me, and I say this, feedback is amazing. Anybody on Instagram, you guys have feedback, get back to me. We will have a conversation and talk about it. It's what keeps it fresh and fitting well and doing what it's supposed to do.
Do you ever revisit older designs?
I revisit the same silhouettes over and over again very often, especially in swim, because I feel like with a classic, it fits your body. it's good to have the same thing because you're offering something that somebody that works for someone's body. Obviously, we bring in newness, but there are core shapes that I keep and I bring on over and over again. Then there's the prints, which change every year because the story changes every year. And that's where, that's where the creativity comes from. And that's what feeds my creativity. And then there's obviously the clothing, which we do a mix. There's things we bring forward and there's newness. We have such a rich archive of prints. And for me, reviving these would be fantastic. And I'm working on a very exciting project using materials that have been left over from past productions that I have been hoarding for the last 10 years and bringing out a collection using these materials because I don't believe in waste and I don't believe in throwing things away. And they're just sitting there. And soon, at some point, we're going to be launching a revived classics collection.
What's next for Paolita?
Oh my God, what's next? I am bursting with excitement. And it's the first time I'm talking about this here, but we're partnering with the most incredible hotel in Mykonos called Cali Hotel. And it's my favorite hotel. And it's in Mykonos, my favorite island. And we're opening a boutique in partnership with them in Mykonos. And it's going to be a Paolita world that will live inside that hotel. And it will be with us this summer.